So just be quiet. Phone's off or mute, whatever. You might see me get on my phone because it's like my phone's gonna blow up, but at the same time, I'm gonna go ahead and like get some other questions I have lined up here. So don't worry, just keep talking. All right, here we go. 4 o'clock sharp. 3, 2, 1. All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. Oh, see, I already screwed that up. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Behind the Keys with Jack. Today, I get to bring to the piano one of my dear friends. Great crew of people that I grew up with, and I really fell in love with just who they are as a human being, but most importantly, their ethics. They are recognized in the tri-state area for producing one of the most events when it comes to centerpiece, when it comes to the design, when it comes to bringing out the dreams and really making them into a reality. There was some good, there was some bad. The story goes, from what I know and what I gathered, it was not an easy path to get where she was at. There was a lot of decisions where this company has to go, and she chose the right path, and we've seen her success flourish through Insta, being recognized with a lot of great venues. And I am honored to have Behind the Keys with Jack, my dear friend Rima and José. Rima and José, can you just introduce yourself to the people that are listening, all one people?
All one people?
All one people?
Go for it?
Go ahead.
I feel like you have an introduction already.
No, I have nothing.
Okay, well, my name is Rima. I'm the owner of Premier Events. We are an event design production company that loves to get a little crazy with flowers.
Is that it?
That's it. I mean, I can be here forever.
We'll keep going. Jose, can you just follow up with that?
Sure. I work for Premier Events by Rima. I am one of the lucky ones. I wake up every morning and do something that I love. I'm very lucky. I'm incredibly lucky. I get to work with the most beautiful flowers. I get to work with the coolest brides. I work with the coolest vendors, all to just make dreams come
Someone's
true.
dream come true.
It's amazing.
Okay.
We're lucky.
I mean,
We are.
all right, that's
We're
kind of
super
vague,
lucky.
though. All right, so what I was expecting to hear
Oh my
from
God,
you,
let's see.
what I was expecting to hear from you is like, hi, my name is Rima.
Mm-hmm.
I am the proud owner and operator of Premier Events by Rima.
Mm-hmm.
I design the most elaborate centerpieces,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a signature piece that is only provided and done by our team at Premier Events. Does that sound pretty fair to say?
It does, but I try to like to be a little humble. So yes, we are known for our very extravagant events, and we are great at what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I thought my introduction was fine, Jack.
I think you need to paint it a little bit better. You know,
No,
that's
I
all
just
it
need to
is.
do on Jack Bermio's level.
That's all.
You gotta
That's
switch
all.
it up.
You got. You got.
I
You got to.
Yeah, I gotta do on Jack Bermio's level.
I like the bouginess. You know how it is. So.
I gotta keep that off camera.
No, but anyway, okay. So let's just go more into this a little bit here. How long have you guys been in business, Rima? How long have you been in business?
This August will be 7 years.
7 years. Premier Events by Rima.
Yeah.
7 years. And how many employees do you currently have?
I have full-time employees that are with me all the time. I have 3, and then I have contractors just like any other company does, and we have about like 15 of them.
15 of them. Okay.
Yes.
And Jose happens to be one of your elite designers, planners, and pains in the ass.
Yes, he's my right-hand man.
I wouldn't say. I would just go with favorite.
Go with favorite.
Oh, favorite, not the pain in the butt part.
No,
we'll
okay.
go with favorite.
Okay, we'll leave that for someone else on the team.
Okay.
I
We'll
have
leave
quite
that.
a few people that I can give that title to.
Okay. And going this route with Premier Events by Rima, was this your first title? Was this the first name that you thought of when you got into the floral business?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
It was my first.
So how did this vision get started? How did you come up with this name? And of course, how did you know that this was, I don't know, you wanted to entertain this type of business?
So it all started with my wedding, which I feel like it did for a lot of people in the industry. It started with my wedding. My favorite part was the flowers. Like I love
Okay.
anything to do with design.
Where was your wedding at?
It was at the Tides.
The Tides
Many
Estate.
years ago, yes.
Okay.
So it started with my wedding. I loved and enjoyed the flower part of my wedding because I got to be a little bit more creative, and anything that comes with design, whether it's a house or flowers or anything, I'm obsessed with it. So at the time, I had a lot of friends and coworkers that were getting engaged and getting married, so they were coming to me for a lot of the things, for flowers or recommendations for vendors, and I said, why am I not doing this?
Right.
So I started Premier Events, and we started out first doing planning, I guess you can say, where I wasn't hands-on with the flowers just yet. I want to say for the first like 6 months.
Before we take that leap, that next chapter here, you got married at the Tides.
Yes.
You're intrigued by the florals,
Yes.
right? And who helped you with the florals? Florists in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So that process was probably fascinating to see how everything was developed. And how many people were at your wedding?
350.
350.
Mm-hmm.
Arabic wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about 36 tables, I'm assuming?
35, yeah.
36
Half
tables. And I
house.
learned that from you. Wow. So you had to figure out 35 centerpieces. And I guess half of them were supposed to be identical and the other half were different. Is that how it goes? I don't know. What's the process on there?
So when I had my wedding, there wasn't so much into, like right now, clients are going more extravagant for wedding. It was not this scene when I got married almost 8 years ago.
Sorry, that was me.
He told us to get off.
I know. That was my
He
bad.
told us to get off our phone and
Damn.
put our
And
phones
he's
on
the
mute.
first one to go
and
off.
he's like,
Yeah.
I gotta take this call, guys. Let's put this on
Yeah.
pause.
Sorry, that's my wife's pregnant, so
Oh my God, is she?
I'm just kidding. I'm
Oh.
just kidding.
We were about to end this and go to your house.
I know. Maybe
It's
a
not-
girl this time.
It's not mine.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
I can't even. I don't know how Sophia puts up with you.
I don't know. How does Jose put up with
How-
you?
How does she put up
I
with
am
me?
a pleasure to be put up with,
Really?
Mr. Romeo.
I don't know.
I know where you
Jose,
live.
the real question to you is, how often do you go shopping in Short Hills with Rima?
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
It's an addiction at this point.
At this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hence why my husband took my car from me, so I can no longer go to the mall.
Yeah. All right. We can talk about that conversation about your
Yeah, that's-
your spinning therapist. But anyway, okay. So
Therapy.
you're 35 centerpieces.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of weddings that are different. They're not the same, but like your wedding in particular, you're an Arab, right?
Yes.
And fiance,
Husband?
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yes.
he's-
Syrian. Okay. So you had full blown out Arabic wedding.
Yes.
And so everything with Arabics, I know they have to be very detailed oriented. Everything from even the right flowers being grown at that certain time, they have to be smelling the right way. I'm assuming, am I right, Jose?
Yes,
about
sir.
that? Cool. All right. See, I'm learning
Okay.
little by little about you guys.
He's getting it.
So, but all right.
fine.
So just the process now. 35 centerpieces. Half of them, about let's just say 16 of them, had to be a certain height structure because you want to fill the room is massive. The Tide's big,
Huge.
right? And then what about the other halves? Where was the
So like I was saying, back when I got married about 8 years ago, weddings were not as extravagant as they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning like today there's a lot more detail. There's not the same centerpiece on all the tables. Sweetheart tables have gone so crazy these last few years. When I got married, that was not even a process or a thought to do
Right.
that. So
And we're talking 10 years ago?
8 years ago.
8
This
years
August
ago.
will be 8. So my tables were all the same arrangements, these huge, massive arrangements on every single table. The only difference is I had them on different heights just
Yeah.
to add some sort of character because you know the Tides, the ceilings are massive there. So like the right thing to do is all tall arrangements. And for the Sweetheart table, the windows there are just so beautiful in my opinion. And I didn't feel like I needed something so
Did you go with like a
extravagant.
color theme in mind, or is it just strictly like white and beige is what I normally see?
I'm mad that you said normal, that you see that, but that's what it was. No, I did my favorite rose, quicksand rose. It was just whites and nudes and light pinks. It was
Right.
August, so I wanted to do something along those lines.
Okay, so because I just want to paint the picture a little bit more, like how it goes behind, taking this jump from not being in the floral game, you get inspired, you get the bug that you want to kind of get into this business, but it wasn't like I want to just jump right into it. There has to be some sort of like stepping stone that you had to go into before you met the lovely Jose. So you were also working full time.
Yes, I was
Working full time for a jeweler, BB.
Yes.
Shout out to BB, right? Is that BB? BB? BNB? Which is B? And you were there for quite some time, right?
11 years.
11 years working for Eddie, right? And his brother? Is that
Ben
right?
and Eddie, yeah.
Ben and Eddie. I just remember only one of them. Or Ben. I don't know why I knew Eddie. But anyway, so 11 years, you're comfortable. And then probably around your 9th year with them or 10th year with them, you kind of took this jump like, you know what? I think I want to start a little side hustle. Little side hustle. Am I
I
right?
wouldn't call it a side hustle.
At that time, though.
I didn't consider it as a side hustle even then. Just because I had a full-time job does not mean that I took Premier Events as a side hustle.
Okay.
I feel like you knew where you were going.
Yes, this is from the moment I started, I knew
And what year was that?
2016.
2016.
7 years ago. When I first started doing this, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So I needed to make sure that I had to be smart, and I had to make sure I was financially okay to then be like, peace out, guys. I gotta go do my thing. So I never treated it as a side hustle. I get that it looks like that because you're starting up.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to consider that like a side hustle. That was something I still gave all of my time to. I still did that full time. I did 2 full-time jobs.
So how did you manage that? How did you manage 2 full-time jobs?
It was not easy.
Okay.
It was not easy. I'm thankful for a lot of the girls there that took shifts for me when I had events.
Okay.
But to be honest, like working there,
Thanks for being honest.
no problem. Working there and being around the atmosphere that I was in, I learned so much, and it also had so much to do with the motivation I got to push and to do better, and I learned a lot from them. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think about it, I'm like, I wouldn't mind still being there to a certain extent because they were just always moving. So I was always learning, and I was always bettering myself because they're very successful business owners in many different businesses.
And you're referring to the brothers.
Yes, I'm referring to the entire
B&B.
company. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're referring to the jeweler that kind of showed you business ethics, proper ways of counting.
How to run a business, customer service. Like in any job you have, at least with me, you got to take the good with the bad, right? So there's a lot of good that I took with me, and then anything that I thought was bad, I learned how to not implement that in that way for my own business. Does that make any sense?
Okay.
So I try to find everything positive out of any of the jobs I had to implement it in my business.
All right. So now share with me one of your first events. I mean, you're obviously a full-time jeweler and a full-time, quote unquote, florist designer. What was your first event like?
My first event
And do you remember who and when? Where?
Yes, it was in Staten Island. It was probably like I'd say about a month or 2 after I started my business. The anxiety I had that day was insane.
Yeah.
And literally after that day, it was in Brooklyn. It was in Staten Island. It was, I forget what hotel or what room that everyone is. Nakatra's Ballroom. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's at the Hilton Hotel, is it not?
I don't
The
remember.
One Plaza? Is it the One Hotel? I think it's called?
It was a
Roof?
Middle Eastern wedding, and it's a very popular venue for.
So how did you get this opportunity?
So she reached out to me on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
So Instagram is definitely the platform for you at the time when you got the bug to start promoting, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So now, so you're inspired by your own wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any training prior to making this your full-time thing?
No.
No YouTubing, none of that stuff?
Not necessarily YouTubing, but I've had friends that worked for florists for many years before I even started my business. So I was super thankful for her.
Yes.
Her name is Rebecca, actually.
Shout out to Rebecca. Hold on, I think I have this on. Yeah, they do.
I'm done.
We got that.
Ooh, honey.
Dropping bombs.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had
Rebecca.
Rebecca. She guided me through a lot in the beginning, and to be honest,
Thanks for being honest.
No problem. After being in this now going on 7 years, we're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're always going to learn. You're always going to educate yourself, and obviously after like the first year of kind of more like trial and error to understand like what works best for me, because at the end of the day, a lot of people think that you have to fit in some sort of mold.
Yes.
Depending on what your service is. Like, this is how you're supposed to do it, this is how things are done, and it's not necessarily like that.
Right. Okay.
So I kind of consider myself self-taught, if that makes sense. But I still educate myself in every way possible. Now, I'm super blessed to have a lot of mentors in this industry that do event design that now educate me and teach me how to do better and go bigger and to just implement everything into the business.
Okay. So let's go into this first wedding of yours. You said it was Egyptian? I'm sorry?
It was a Palestinian wedding.
So this is your first event, big
Yes,
event. The
600
process,
people.
600 people. Wow. So you went right in.
Wait, so I have to tell you a little bit.
What, you-
600 people.
600 people. You just went right in.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know what I was doing.
You have no idea. Go on.
Meaning, like, I don't know what I was prepared for. And at the time when I first started, like I mentioned before, I was working with the florist who did my wedding. So I would, like, pretty much do what, like, I would just event design. I would design the event, and I would just.
Who's the florist from Brooklyn? What's her name?
His name is Jimmy.
Jimmy. Okay.
Yeah.
So Jimmy guided you, it looks like.
Not really,
No.
but I just worked with him.
They're
so
people.
yeah, in the beginning. So I would I think I only did 4 or 5 weddings with him where he supplied the flowers, but I did the design and everything like that. But my first event was 600 guests. He's the one that did the flowers, and we had about a half hour to flip the room. So like everything.
600 people.
Yeah. So everything you can think of, like we go through now, that's like
Yeah.
stressful. I did that on day 1 for me.
That's good. So
Yeah.
this broke you in.
Exactly.
This
So,
broke you in.
Yeah.
Okay.
It definitely made me contemplate life. But then, like, the reward of, like, seeing her walk in and so happy, it was just absolutely amazing. There was a lot of lessons from that wedding. Just like every wedding. I feel like till this day we're still learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy day.
So this is the first wedding that you did, about 600 people. I mean, nerves were definitely there. Anxiety was
Shock,
at its highest. And you had about a good, decent amount of team players, I assume, to put this together. How many people did you have working for you for this event?
At the time, the florist is the one that did everything.
So you just
So
designed.
yes. So
Okay.
in the beginning, the very beginning.
So you
for the
designed
first
it and you
6
had
months,
someone with the
yes.
labor doing this.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is where I guess you found your place, where you realized after you executed this 600 people event, you kind of pat yourself on the back and said, I think I can handle this. Because, yeah, you know, I'm looking at Jose's face, like that was the wake-up call. Like, whoa, you got the hardest obstacle that came right to you and you conquered it. And you must have felt amazing after that. And I assume you had some calls coming back after
Yes,
that. Like,
absolutely.
yes, how many calls come in after that?
Oh, we got a ton. It was that wedding, and I think a wedding that I did like a week later, 2 weeks later, that like shocked me with how many people reached out
Yeah.
after. It was amazing. But, you know, again, lesson learned with a lot of, like, for example, that wedding. I'm someone who's very hands-on and likes to be in control of everything,
Yes.
which is sometimes a downfall for me. But I need to be in full control. And if I can't be in full control of production, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
So after that event is when I said to myself, I'm just going to do this myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to just, you know, I'll find my ways to buy flowers. I'll learn how to make arrangements. I'll hire my own team and build a team that I know that's going to work like me and produce what I want to be produced. And then that's what encouraged me to take Premiere completely in-house and not work with anybody else.
All right, so that's a little bit of a backstory of your first event. You broke the walls, you got the 600 people event, and you got the bug that you really want to get down and dirty. This is your thing.
Yes.
So there's a certain point in your life where after you did that event, moving forward right before you did this full time, did you have any challenges, any obstacles, any weaknesses? Did you have any bad events that really set you back before you turned this into full time?
Before I turned this into full-time. I don't think so. You're looking at me like, yeah.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting something?
There had to be one, or you can't just be hitting home runs. There had to be some sort of.
Absolutely not.
So before you did this full time, there had to be some one or maybe 2 events. I don't know. Is there an event that even comes to mind that you probably could have done better? Let's just say.
I think I can go back to the first event where I learned that for me to be able to do better for my events, I would have to produce it myself.
Okay.
So that's what changed everything. So for
So
me
after
to,
your first event,
yeah, I
600
immediately,
people. This is me.
Yes.
I can do it. You got your own
Absolutely.
team to do this now.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So within like a few months, I hired my own team. I started, you know, working with farms and
Where was your first office at? Where were you located at that time?
I was in,
Little Falls. You
Yeah.
always had that little space there.
yeah. Okay. I lied. So you're gonna have to edit that part.
But just straight
When
up.
I did the first like 2 or 3 weddings, I did not have an office yet. I was working with a friend, so I was meeting my clients there. And then we signed our lease in the office, and then that's when I started doing everything.
In-house, okay.
Yes.
And your office is located in Little Falls, right?
Yes,
right by the
sir.
Willowbrook Mall?
Yes.
All right, so now this is one of the challenging parts with moving into full-time, because a lot of people in your position who want to be florists, they don't know really who to reach out to. They don't know what school to go to. And the network process is a little bit different than it is compared to any other industry. You're teaching people the arts, the cheat codes of how to create these centerpieces. And it's a unique way, the way Premier Events do your pieces, because I've seen it. I've seen you guys do it outside and what you guys do. You even told me, don't show this, don't show this. But, you know, there's the people out there on YouTube. People somehow find their way to see how you guys do this. But the biggest challenge is probably going into this full-time, you know. Doing this full-time, you had to take this big jump, but there was a lot of fear that was going through your mind. There was a lot of fear. You were questioning yourself. Was this going to be it? Was this going to be my full-time career? How did you find the courage to do this?
Fear kind of adds more fuel to my fire. Because fear is knowing that something.
This was not from the beginning, though. You always had fear, or did you have it right from the door?
Listen, in anything you start, in anything you do, or even like an idea of starting something, you're gonna get that feeling. But to me, I consider that feeling getting you ready for what you're actually capable of doing.
So what was stopping you from doing this full time?
Like not working at the jewelry store?
You got to give up your full-time career, and you said to yourself, you know what? I have about 20 events a year. I think this is sustainable for me to have a good living, and I feel it in my core that I can do this full-time. But what did you say? How did you feel? Like, what did you do to take that extra step to tell, you know, a team that you've been with for 11 years, was it?
Yes.
That you have to cut ties because, like, you're ready to fly. Like, what was the emotional...
That was very emotional.
So how did you overcome that? Because that's not easy.
It's not easy, but you know, if you're gonna want to do something in your life, you're gonna have to move on from things, right? And I'm super thankful for them. You know, at the jewelry store, I was there literally for a million years. It feels like they encouraged me and they pushed me in a lot of the things that I did. But you know, when I got to a certain point and I'm like, okay, I have this many events on the calendar. I know that I can handle this and I can do this. I gave it my full time, and honestly, the day that I said that I'm doing this full time, which you got that text, everything was night and day for Premier. And
so
I kind of regretted not making it full time earlier.
I mean, that's everyone's.
Fear stopped me a little bit.
That's true. Fear stops everyone from being successful where they're at, and I'm an advocate about that. Just like fear is being uncomfortable for me is being comfortable. That's just how it is. So now you took the step. Premier's flying full time. When did Jose come about? When did your right-hand man come about?
Why are we laughing about it?
Because we found you in a wicker basket in front of a doorstep.
Off, yeah.
You got someone dropped you off. Actually, someone didn't drop. Someone just like fucking threw you to the window, and they just threw him at the window of Premier Events. It's like, hey, we've seen this flower. I think this poison ivy belongs to this building here.
With a sorry note. Yes.
Yeah. Not even sorry, no. There's a stupid little bat next to you. But anyway. A BAT that they give you at the Yankee Stadium because whatever. But anyway. So now Jose is your right-hand person. He's been with you for how long, Jose? How long you been with the one and only Rima?
I'm waiting.
I want to hear this. How long have you been with Rima?
Is he looking at me or no?
No.
I was.
He's looking at me now.
Because he always forgets.
Yeah, how long? You've been with her for 5 years.
He's been with me for 6.5 years.
6.5 years. You see that, Jose? You screw that up. You better go back into the wicker basket of yours.
Are you sure, Julie?
Yeah, because you started almost maybe 8 or 9 months after I started, like a little over 6 years.
There you go, Jack.
Okay, the curveball of hiring.
Yes. Oh.
It's not easy nowadays. What's your process of hiring the next designer for you? Because you do network with people. You subcontract a lot of your stuff out to other people to help you. And that's not easy to have that type of trust.
No.
But now with your current situation, you have a lot of full-timers and part-timers working for you. But how do you weed out the bullshit? How do you get the right quality people working with for you?
Yeah, let Jose answer.
Jose answer?
No, I have a question. We're allowed to curse on this?
Yes.
Oh, I stopped myself from using
Well,
that.
let me hear that shit for you.
Jose's been through that.
Well, I'm not going to go too heavy with curses. I'm not going to use the C word or anything like
Heavens,
that.
no. So
maybe to you. But.
This is what Rima does. And so I watched how she does it. It's crazy. So let's say, for example, Jack, you are great with your hands, right? You're great with your hands. You can build anything.
I'm amazing with my hands. You know that, Jose. Jose especially knows that.
I can't wait for this to be edited. Yeah. So let's say you're great with your hands, right? So what Rima does is she'll be like, you're good at this. We're going to take that strength and we're going to put it here. You're terrible with this. So we'll never have you do that again.
Okay.
So no matter what you do working for Rima, she will highlight your best. She'll stand back and watch you. She'll look at your mess ups. She'll look at your strengths. She'll look at where you need work. She'll look at where she can help you. And then there are days that she'll look at you and be like, there's just no hope
There's
for
just
this
no
person.
hope for
Like,
you
just-
today.
We're done.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how do I get it from your perspective because you're now an official full-time staff employee, but the process before she found you, like, how did you gain 4 or 5 people working under your belt? Like, what was that process? Like, how did they find you? Was it an application? And then how did you weed out the bullshit? Like, how did you know, like, right from the beginning after the conversation? What were they wearing? What's your process like?
So my employees actually found me. Most of them.
Okay.
Most of them found me. Some of them had work experience in the field, in this industry, and some people did not, which I don't ever think someone who does not know what they're doing in your industry, it might not be a good fit. Like in my situation, I take them and I mold them to what I think is going to work best because, again, every company does things
Do
differently.
they need to have some sort of background in floral?
I'm not, if you're building flowers, absolutely.
Okay.
Like Rafa, you know that he's our production manager. He handles all the production end of things. He's the one that also hires a lot of our extended team, you know, when we need a lot more people.
Right.
So we go through the designers with Rafa. And the same thing, like if I see them working and I don't like the way they're working or they're making things not in a way that I would like, I feel like you're about to roll your eyes at me.
I'm not gonna roll my eyes at you. I'm just questioning now because it's like it just seems like it's very chillaxed with your hiring process. But now, how about firing process? Because it looks like you might have hired people because you made mistakes hiring them. How did you fire the people that didn't fit the Rima way?
So when it comes down to contractors, there's no hard feelings of just firing someone. It's just
Okay.
not calling them to come back for another event.
Right.
In the last 7 years, I've only had to fire one person.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
one
impressive.
person. So I try to be like your team is like my team is very important to me. They're a huge part of Premier Events.
Of course.
I would not be anywhere without them.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of them. But
And there's no hard feelings. It's
no,
like, it is what it is.
Exactly.
So how did you get the courage to kind of do something that you know it's not in your blood, but you have to? Like, how did you had to be talking to yourself a few times, like, you know what? Put my foot down. I got to do this. I got to do this because, like, I need my mental health back.
Yes,
like,
that's important.
So how did you psych yourself out, like, to say, unfortunately, whatever that person is, we got to tie. We got to break ties. Like, how did you do that?
I had to put my big girl pants on, and I'm someone who
Cavaricci's. Do you remember those?
Jordache jeans. dear?
Jordache jeans.
Yes.
Or mom's jeans. SNL skit. Mom's jeans. No. Go on.
Actually, I know that skit.
Mhm.
I do.
Mom's jeans.
What jeans are you guys freaking talking about? I'm so freaking confused right now. What jeans?
SNL. I'm going to show you this.
Oh
video.
my
Oh,
goodness! Yes.
I don't
Go
watch
ahead.
this one.
All right, go on. Go on. You're.
I forgot where we were. Oh yeah, so I had to put my big girl pants on, and I'm someone who is an emotional person. I'm not
know.
gonna lie about that. You know that. I wear my heart on the sleeve, like Jose was just saying before. But when it comes down to business is business, and if you're not providing and doing what I ask you to do that you're getting paid for, you're not coming here as an intern and doing this for nothing. We have to have a conversation, and we handled it very maturely. I wish them so much success and love in everything they do. We're on good terms, but it just wasn't a right fit for Premier.
What's your work schedule like now? Because now you're very successful where you're at. Been in business for quite some time. You're working every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
During the
Almost every
week,
weekend.
you have to do sales. You got to do designs. You got to do payroll. You got to do
Inventory.
Inventory. Go ahead, keep going. You got to keep.
Order stuff,
You got to
yes,
put all this
everything.
stuff
It's a lot.
together. But what's your day like on a Monday morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? How do you keep yourself scheduled to not fail?
So I do this thing on Sundays after my weekend is done, whether I have events or not. I prep myself for the entire week. So I'm prepared for all our new clients that are coming in, preparing for all of our finals ahead of time. That also gives me some time to be able to leave earlier and leave at a normal
Time. How was your day start though? Like, do you wake up at 6, 5,
I wake up
4 in the morning?
Well,
like
not
when Jose
today.
comes back from a bar?
'cause
Wow.
that was Saturday night.
Yeah.
No, I wake up at
What bar,
6:30
Jose?
in the morning.
6:30 in the morning.
6:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I try to read a motivational read every morning.
You
'Cause that's
read.
important. I email you the reads I read. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then she does Pilates.
She
for
does
about
Pilates?
2 hours.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, so this is you got your mind right.
Yes,
Now you
I
got
walked
your
my
fit,
dog.
you got your body right, your mind. You walk your dog, and what's your dog's name?
London.
Oh, Jose. And
Cuddly, aren't they?
woof woof.
Meow.
And so that starts to get your body psyched up, your
Yes.
mind ready to go.
Getting my
You
mind
do your
focused.
motivational reading, and we do the texting here and there. And then I guess you go right into the office and you just
Go
kind of
right
grind,
into the
right?
office with an extra large cup of coffee.
And what kind of, where's this coffee from?
Well, the Dunkin' Donuts is right down the street from my house, so I'll go to Dunkin'.
Yeah, I heard.
The
I heard.
Starbucks line is too long by my office.
I heard Sugar Tree coffee is pretty strong. Is it?
See?
Oh,
Delicious.
maybe that's what I should have answered. Well, where is the Sugar Tree coffee right now? Is
Yeah,
what I want to know.
yeah.
Why are you not serving Sugar Tree coffee
And
on
those
your
chocolate
podcast?
chip cookies that everyone loves. I'm just saying.
I'm just
I'm
saying.
hungry. I'm so hangry right now.
We could get some wings after this,
Oh,
but
they have good croissants there too, guys.
croissants.
And the carrot cake is slapping.
Slappy.
Slapping.
Is that something that we
I
learned
said
now?
slapping.
Oh, slapping. That's something new that we learned lately,
Slap,
right?
Like, there's some people on my team who are young, and we're trying to stay up and hip with the
Yes.
words. Which some people at a venue recently that we were at, they just literally sat us down and taught us all the new words.
And
Wow.
we are officially
What are some of
educated.
the words besides
They're
slappy?
not for podcasts.
They're not for podcasts.
They're not for podcasts.
No. It's a lot of words that are replaced with words that we use for other things.
Let's use one of the words that were replaced.
I have one.
Go ahead, Jose.
All right. The proper word is lying.
Okay, lying.
Stop lying, right? But the new word now is this, girl,
You capping.
no cap, meaning no lie.
You cap.
Uh-huh. Don't cap.
What about sus? Is that something fairly new?
Oh, that's a great one.
My kids always tell me, Dad, there's something sus about you right now.
Your kids?
Your kids say that to you?
I'm telling my kids, I'm learning from my kids too. What else do you have?
That's all he's got.
That's all you got?
Those are the only
caps?
PG ones.
We can go PG-13. How about that?
Okay. Because it's legal in the state of New Jersey,
Uh-huh.
right? For the people that enjoy cannabis leisurely. That's actually now called za.
Za.
Yeah, did you bring the za with you tonight?
Yes. That's from also a few different soundtracks. A few different rappers are using the word za.
Oh,
You're
so we're just
kidding.
late to the game.
I think
All right.
Kodak Black is in one of his...
Who?
Kodak Black?
Who's that?
A
A
rapper?
camera company.
What song? That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Maybe know a song.
Kodak
So-
Black, the camera company.
Yes.
Mhm. You're exactly right. But that's kind of interesting that you're learning all these little, sayings.
Slangs.
Slangs that these millennials say.
It's
Actually,
great.
we're millennials, actually.
Are we?
Are we?
Yeah.
They're Gen
No, we're
Z.
Gen X.
What? Wait, what? No.
We're Gen X. Yes, we are.
No. I think anything below 80.
Can you Google this?
I'm a millennial.
You're a
I
millennial?
barely
Well, you
made
are
it.
older.
Yeah. So I think it's Gen
We're, Gen Z is now. That's
Z.
Z. We're X.
All right, well.
And you're Paleolithic.
I can't stand you.
Oh my goodness, I'm going to cut your mic, Jose.
All
So, all right, so let's go back on behind the keys.
Mm-hmm.
Business is moving. You got a great squad here, great team here. You're getting recognized with some of these venues now. Which one of the venues that you currently have that really kind of defines your artistry as a floral designer?
I think you already know the answer to this.
The VFW in Nutley.
Exactly.
Yep. He always gets it, this
They
guy.
just we just can do our thing there. No, it would be the Legacy Castle.
The Legacy Castle.
The
yes.
Legacy Castle, I mean, just for any designer, honestly, it just literally, it's a place to go big.
Yeah. There's a few venues I know we work together on,
Yes.
but the Legacy Castle definitely raises the bar, not just on service-wise and just like the venue space, but any vendor that goes in there, they really got to put their big girl
Yes.
pants on
Oh, yes.
and be a representation of that brand in particular. Because you can't have someone running in there with, especially in DJ world and in florals, like there's certain type of ethics and morals you got to keep high. And just ironically enough, this past weekend we had to sub one of our 360 booths out there, and it was at the Grove, not too far from where you're at. And I got that message from my good friend Jason. He's like, Jack, we can't have this one girl. We can't have this on a Saturday night. He sends me a photo, and it was the subcontractor that we assigned to do this event. She was wearing jeans. I think she was wearing like Skechers sneakers, and this is like a gala. This was like a gala.
That's
And,
not-
in this position, what do? You just can't like, oh, my bad, it won't happen again. So I had to send Joey out for my event. He was dressed up to the T We were doing a Sweet 16. Joey, you got to go race to the Grove. You got to relieve this girl, and we just got to. We got to just tear her apart. And it's like later,
Yeah.
but we literally told her like, I'm sorry, we got to run this. You can go to the car, and we didn't know how to say it, but because this is like you're a representation of a brand. And once I got that text, instantly I had to replace someone just because of what they were wearing, and that's honestly what we have to do. Which goes without saying. What are some of your procedures when you go to these venues? Like, do you have a whole rundown of like what you put together? What can you share with us? I want to know what is the do's and don'ts in when it comes to preparation and breakdowns.
Okay, where do we begin? Okay, first of all, when stepping into a venue,
I'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay, that's
Or
one.
I'll give you 5.
Stepping into a venue, everyone's got to look clean.
They got to represent the brand.
They represent the brand. And step one, everyone's got to be in all black. Everyone's got to be in the premier shirts. Your lights are so blinding.
You look good though.
Oh, thank you.
That's important. Remember, just like shoes. If they hurt, they look good.
That's right.
Okay. So everyone's got to be
wearing?
in all black. I'm sorry?
What shoes are you wearing today?
Christian Dior shoes.
What shoes are you wearing, Jose?
These are actually Kenneth Cole's.
Okay. Move on.
Move on.
Step 2.
Yes. So everyone's in all black. We prep everything from the day before. We have a production meeting with obviously Rafa and everyone else that's working.
This is
the day prior.
Okay.
Everyone gets assigned jobs of who's in charge of what, depending on also how large the event is in that sense. And then obviously you got to work hand in hand with the venue to see, to work with whatever their rules are and the setup time and all that. But we prep prior at the warehouse. We have our meeting, assign jobs to everybody.
What type of equipment do you take with you when it comes to the prep jobs at the location?
Flowers.
Flowers, drapes, tarps,
Everything.
scissors,
So we have,
knives.
Wow, we're going that into detail.
You got to share a little bit of some of the do's and don'ts because there's a lot of people that we know that do not do the most simple things.
Exactly, the most simple thing. And this is the one thing that I hear from venues the most, any venue I walk into, is the tarps. Now, tarps are a huge thing, whether it's a small event or large event. If you're building there, you're not building there. If you're fixing something there or not, tarps are in our emergency kits. We have emergency kits.
Why do you need
tarps? To not ruin the carpet at the venue, or maybe a floor wrap that's being put down. We don't want to have to piss the venue off by making a mess.
Isn't it bizarre that people in your field don't bring tarps because they think it's a pain in the ass for them? And it's like,
first of all, I think it's easier to work with a tarp because then you're rolling it up, putting it in a garbage bag, and it's out, rather than having to sweep all that and grab all the hydrangea leaves and everything else and toss them in the bags. Doesn't make sense to me. Putting tarps down on a platform is important because the platform just got cleaned before you started your structures, and now you're going to have to sit here and wipe down and clean this entire thing. So, for example, tarps are insanely important. Zip ties are insanely important.
Zip ties for sure.
Absolutely. So, like I said, we have an emergency kit that has a little bit of everything from A to Z, whether it's boutonniere pins or ivory ribbon or anything from bridal bouquets to ceremony supplies to reception supplies. And that's with us at every single event. So if God forbid, something happens at a venue, which happens, sometimes the bridesmaids after photos before they walk into the reception, some of the roses, either one of them snapped or one's hanging off, we're able to fix it and just kind of do our thing. So we try to be as prepared as possible for every event.
If an event starts at 7 o'clock, cocktail hours at 6, ceremonies at 5, what time do you expect your team and yourself to be there?
So depending on how large the event is, I usually like to try to get in at 10 o'clock. Some venues...
10 in the morning?
10 in the morning, yeah. Some venues that, kind of love us will let us get in at, 8:30, 9 if needed, again, depending on how large the production...
You even go 10 hours early for this?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let me ask you, this is a hard question. This is I don't know how to really accept this, but why do I feel that some florists get there 2 hours before the event to start cutting, prepping, and I get agita, and I'm not
I'm having anxiety just even.
And I'm looking at this, and I'm ready to go, and obviously I'm very observant to my surroundings. I'm observant to how the staff is now all of a sudden doing the side eyes. I'm anxious to get this bride in here, but the room is half messed up. The tarp is on the floor still. Why do you think some of these vendors are coming in 2-3 hours thinking it's okay?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I mean, when venues tell us, oh, you can get in at 5 and the party starts at 7, I'm freaking, dying. But I'm dying, but we obviously get through it. How many events did we have that we had to build in the parking lot before walking into the venue together? So I'm prepared for that. I actually enjoy working outside as long as it's not snowing or whatever.
Right.
But for other companies to come in to set up 2 hours before, like, you're going to miss something.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to forget a detail. Maybe it's not an elaborate event where they're just plopping flowers on tables and leaving. That can also be a situation. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But I just, to be honest, with a lot of the event design companies in our area, they're going to need that time. I can't see any of them showing up 2 hours before.
It's scary. I've been seeing this a lot, and then it's like it's unacceptable, I guess, in this case. Especially in Jersey's like the hub of venues, weddings, the whole 9 yards, and this is where the trial and error comes in. But once you make that error, you got to fix it right away. But speaking about errors, there had to be. Was there any event that you can take back and rewind and say to yourself, you know what? Because maybe she gave you a bad review, whatever the case is, she was a pain in the ass in the whole planning process. Is there anything, that particular event, that you can take back and just kind of fix? You could leave the names out.
No, yeah, I'm not going to mention any names. I don't think I've had anyone, like, leave a bad review to have us, like, figure something out. We unfortunately did have a situation at an event not too long ago. That probably is the only thing that kind of stuck out to me.
What was the issue?
The most? Something I can't really mention just yet. Maybe your next podcast.
Okay, fib a little.
There was an incident at an event where guests like to take flowers home with them, which is understandable. But, you know, there was a little accident with one of the events that we had, and that was a huge eye-opener to us. But as business-wise, not like clients, if that makes sense.
No, I got you.
Not
I know what you
towards a
mean.
client.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what the event. Okay, yeah.
So, you know, in that sense, what I learned out of that was obviously to just make sure your contracts are dotted with I's and crossed with T's. Like, everything is, like, perfect.
It's to better protect yourself, too. It's not...
Absolutely.
It's not just to have it, just to replace a product. It's something to just protect yourself, just in case someone gets injured, just in case, you know, something falls on someone. It's just... And it's, insurance covers most of it most of the time.
That's why you have insurance. I mean, regardless... That's why we all have insurance.
You should have insurance.
And most venues require either like $1 million or a $2 million policy, depending on the venue. You want to make sure you have that covered because you can't control guests that are drunk.
Oh yeah.
Correct.
You cannot. I've broken down weddings where there's grown ass men. That's the only word I'm going to use bad. Grown ass men drinking alcohol and wine out of my floating candle holders. So I'm like,
brilliant.
This is crazy.
It was crazy.
I want to do that.
The thing is that, again, you cannot control your client's guests. Yes, I provided everything that my client asked me to. Mm-hmm. She was completely happy with everything, over the moon with everything. But again, I can't control your guests. I can't control what they're going to do.
So with that incident that took place, what did you change on the contract?
My contract is like buying a house now.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's like a few pages?
Yeah.
Is there any co-signers too?
No. There's 36, what do they call those? Clause?
Clause.
Yeah.
36 clause. Which one clause stands out the most?
Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus.
Yeah, see what I did there? That was cute.
Yeah, don't ever say that again in this podcast.
Let's just shut off my mic.
just take this
Jose, first of all, Jose, if you can for me, just like, why don't you fix the headphones first? Because it's not the right size.
What do you mean? His head's big.
It's left and right. So let's just fix those.
Is that better?
Oh, it's supposed to be the other way. The cord is supposed to be on your left.
So I just want to see how you...
This whole time, you wait till like 10 minutes before the podcast
Yeah, I just want to see... I asked you the hiring process. I didn't realize you have to hire...
Do you see what I have to deal with?
People don't know the left and right.
I was forced to hire him.
Terrible.
I was forced to hire him.
And the worst part is I've been fired about 4 years ago, and I've just come to the office every day.
So you just found your way to Rima after you got fired. You must have been weeping from the pizza place next door, and then just walking next door, and you're like... And she was upset. She was like, what are you doing? We don't want this bum here. Oh, wait. Oh, you're wearing pineapple shirts. You know what? Let me hold you in my arms and take you in.
Correct.
Right? And that's what happened. And then you were doing janitor duties, and then eventually you moved up to the bathroom duties, and then Rima said, you know what? Let's just move you up. Let's move you up. Let's have you valet. And then you moved up in the valet world.
Correct.
All in Premier events.
All within Premier. It's crazy. Now,
what
my job is I remove thorns.
You remove thorns. With gloves.
No
Use your
gloves.
His
hands.
favorite job.
All right. So you had a fixture clause on your contract, and that process was pretty interesting to have, especially from that incident that took place. Now,
I had 3 lawyers on my contract.
I want to see a copy because I want to.
3 lawyers on my contract because I am not going down for anything with anybody. Not a vendor, not a venue, not a client.
That's good.
Not a wholesaler.
How much did you spend on this?
My best
on the
friend's a
contract?
lawyer, so
Well, how much
$0.
would she have charged?
I feel like she's done a few contracts for some of our like vendor friends, and it was a few $1,000s.
A few $1,000? Okay. Thinking there was like a makeup artist coming in for downstairs. But anyways, all right, so now let's share with me one of your best highlighted events that you worked that still stands out, and you constantly talk about it, you constantly share that bride's dream to your current brides now, and that's the most talked about probably wedding on your gram and everything else.
Can I be honest?
You know what? Can you be honest now?
I will. How do I say? Like, I appreciate and love all my clients.
We all do.
And I don't feel like one sticks out more than the other. I use everyone's wedding. Why are you rolling your eyes at me?
Basic.
Well, sorry. You know what? I appreciate all my clients.
I know you
show
do.
all my clients' weddings to the right fit client if that's the vibe they're going
Every wedding
for.
you do is amazing. Every wedding that you put 100% in. But there has to be one favorite wedding that you talked about because of just how the collaborative team that you worked with, from photographer, videographer, DJ, wedding, like the clients, the venue, it just all made sense. And that's just kind of like a theory that I put together in my mind, where it's like, you know what? You could have like the coolest client coming in, but if the vendors and the venue do not collaborate, that whole ingredients for a successful event is messed up. So it's never going to stand out. So there has to be that one day, 80 degrees outside, and it just everyone was on point. But that wedding really stuck out.
So I get to work with a lot of my favorite vendors for every single
Who's
event.
your DJ?
With that being said, I feel as a lot of our events are like that. I truly feel that way. I can't sit here and think of like, of course I can pick certain aspects of different weddings because of a design point. You know what I mean? But I genuinely like love all my brides.
Jose, how about you? You got to throw something in here, Jose.
Jack wants like something.
No, because it's like
I'm too boring for him.
No.
no,
Jack,
not boring.
You know what it is that
Sorry,
she's
I'm
trying to
basic.
explain to you?
She's playing it safe.
No.
Yes, I am.
But I
It's a
understand what
podcast.
what
Only
she's
after
saying,
podcast.
and what
And
she's
video.
saying is this.
That's it.
You know how every snowflake, there's no such thing as one snowflake that matches the next, right?
Just like your shirt.
Correct. So I got it from the closet this morning. So the thing is, it's the exact same thing with our clients. Every single client has a special thing about them. Every event has its own characteristic. Every single thing that we do has its own of something. It's never the same. A next wedding, next. This one, next. It's not like that. We literally form
Relationships.
bonds. I think it's past the point of relationship. As I'm sitting here right now, and I'm not exaggerating.
Jack yelled at us to not be on our phones.
But I want to share this because this is reference. As I'm sitting here, a bride just texted me from last weekend. I love you guys, and you best be believing I'll make a trip to the office to personally see the team. When you get texts like that, all that craziness, it's all worth it. It's so rewarding.
So every event that you host is always like that.
Yes, thank God.
Thank God.
Okay. Perfect.
Listen, everyone's love story is very different, so they capture us from the very beginning. All our clients are so different from each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
But again, and we try to implement them into their design or their wedding itself, but I can't just pick one wedding and say, oh, I can't ever get over that. I feel like that over all our weddings.
Okay. You received a text and from your client. They went directly to you, Jose. Besides Instagram being the main tool, I guess, for your marketing, but what do you recommend other people in your field that want to get into this whole florist design setup? what tools do you want to share with them, program-wise, for scheduling, payroll, and of course the platforms? What are you using?
So we'll start with payroll. It's very important to have a great accountant. So we're going to start there because he does all my payroll. What else was there? Oh, so softwares, I'm sorry. So I use a software called Details, which
Okay.
is absolutely amazing,
The
especially
best.
for a florist or an event design company. They literally pinpoint every single thing on the contract, where it just has made my life so much easier with that. And we just actually signed up with Calendly, I want to say about a year and a half ago, for our appointments. And it makes life easy because you can just email them a link and they can just schedule on their own time. So I don't really need anyone there to answer the phones to do all that stuff now.
And marketing-wise, when it comes to like, following up with your clients, what do you do? Anything particular, like maybe throw a party, your repeat clients, your client from last year, or your future clients? Like, you do any marketing or anything like that?
With clients that we've done their weddings, no, we don't. We obviously stay in touch with them, but we don't do anything after the wedding.
No. Okay.
No.
But prior, I
Prior,
assume,
obviously, we're going, yes, of course, it's much different. Marketing is obviously very important when it comes down to any business, whether it's publishing things marketing or it's like customer service marketing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So our biggest thing is customer service. So from the second they walk into the door to the second they walk into their ballroom doors, they're getting the same service from us from A to Z. And that's something that's super important.
Gotcha. Okay. We're wrapping up in just a little bit here, but like, what do you see as like the next big trend in your industry?
What's really crazy, I'm seeing a lot of blue happening right now. Yes. We're getting a lot of people coming in requesting blues, different shades of blue. So I feel like that's a
Is
color
teal
that's...
considered a blue?
Yes and
Or is
no.
that a green?
That's where I was saying yes and no, because I feel like it can kind of be a little greenish. But I see a lot of blue. A lot of people now are also mixing metals, like silvers and golds and clears. No one's like, oh, my
Only
venue's all gold,
gold.
so I
Yeah.
gotta do gold. No, everyone's playing and mixing metals.
Got ya.
But lots of weddings are very full color now,
Okay.
which is pretty
I
awesome.
love
So
that.
we're super
It's
excited.
so vibrant. It's
We have
beautiful.
some crazy productions next year, and it's all full color of
And
all different.
And most of these are, I think, take place at the Legacy.
I have a bunch at the Castle. We have some at Florentine, Crystal Plaza, the Grove. We have some in the city. So we're excited.
Okay. So now, full time, we're in it. There's no turning back. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see Premier Events by Rima going?
My goal is to get on the West Coast.
You want to go out in Cali?
I don't want to move to Cali. I just
No,
wanna
you just
start, I
you
wanna
just
do
want
more
your
events.
brand out there as well.
A lot of my mentors right now are all on the West Coast.
Okay.
A lot of the floral designers and the planners that I work with and will talk to and that help me through a lot, they're all there. And I mean, that would be an amazing goal to just try to get some events out there. I mean, we love what we do. I don't see me not doing this. I hope I get to do this for many years to come. But doing some events on the West Coast is definitely a goal, God willing.
You're a businesswoman. You have another, I call it side hustle, but you want to beg to differ, whatever it is, but pedestals.
Pedals.
Pedals.
God, you
Why
do
do
this
keep
all the
saying-
time.
Every time.
He's like, oh, are you taking orders for pedestals? I was like,
It's petals.
it's been 2 years.
Pedals.
The pedals collection.
Pedals, like bicycle pedals, right?
Pedals like
with a
rose.
T. With a T.
Petals.
PET.
Oh, I was speaking
Like a
Latin.
rose petal.
Oh, it's just he's saying it wrong. You see, it's petals.
Petals. It was European. Okay. So
European. Yes, it is
petals,
actually. Yes.
rose petals. This is like a higher end of like 1-800
Occasion.
flyers, right?
Flyers?
No, 1-800 flowers. Now I'm saying it.
Yes.
Much different.
Yes.
It's more boutique style.
Yes, exactly.
Personalized. And how's that going?
It's going good. It's awesome because obviously we get a lot busier for holidays. Like Mother's Day is this weekend, so it's going to be a crazy weekend. Valentine's Day, so we get a lot of orders for just occasions.
I only say this because like I admire who you both are, but what I admire and love about someone like you're being a woman, an Arab woman, independent, and really just a workhorse, and seeing the chapters that you went through to get where you're at. I don't know if you see it, but like you do influence a lot of people that low key probably don't express it or show it, but to be that strong of a woman and to have this much like control of like just your success, it doesn't get to your head. This is kind of what's really important when it comes to like just having a circle of people working together, you know. And I admire that in someone like you, because like it becomes contagious, you know. Humbly, it does become contagious. Little by little, like we get closer. And although I'm not a florist, but I know your drive, your aura, your positivity does feed into our world as well. And I think that's something that you want to take account for, because like it's really amazing to see what you do. But how are you feeling like you're influencing this world?
It makes me happy. It makes me happy. Like when I have not clients, like there's a lot of florists in this industry and even planners that I'm horrible at public speaking. You know that. Meaning when I say I'm horrible,
this is probably one of the weaknesses that we're talking about. We're trying to get this out of you, because I've been telling you for the last 6 years to be in front of a camera. So now I appreciate you doing this.
Yes, and I'm not someone to be in front of a camera, but if we are ever face to face and having a conversation, it's a complete different story. And I've had a lot of people tell me, like, you should host a class, like you should do a master class of some sort. And I'm like, I can't, I'm not that personality. I'm like, all eyes on me, come look at me, it's all about me. That's not me. I'd like to be quiet and just not say anything and just help people out as much as possible. But to know that I'm, you know, motivating people or pushing people to do better or to help them in their business, it makes me happy.
You're doing amazing.
Thank you.
All right, and I guess I'm just going to ask this question so I can bump it up in front of this podcast here. How do you deal with the haters? How do you deal with the people that are copying you deliberately? How do you deal with the people that are tearing your name apart? How do you kind of go through this type of roller coaster? Because you know who you are, you know what you're about. You're not doing this deliberately to be Premier Events by Rima and shove it up in everyone's faces. No. But how do you deal with that type of like bad attention in a way where it's kind of malicious sometimes?
I was once told this quote. I take that back. It's not a quote, but somebody used a horse race as an example to me a few years ago, which honestly made me look at things much differently. If you pay attention to horses when they race, they have their visors up so they can't see the horses on the left or the right. Their just main focus is getting to the finish line. And I just had to keep my visors up. If I allowed a lot of the outside noise to get into my, what should I call it?
Circle.
Like my circle, you know, it would affect me, and I can't deal with that. So I just kept my visors up and I just kept on going. No matter what you do, no matter who you are, there's going to be something like that, you know, with people talking or anything like that. But I just try not to feed into it.
Okay.
Listen, I wish everybody, we live in a world where it's a very creative world. We all bounce off of each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And not for nothing, like my husband says it all the time, this is a copycat business. Mm-hmm. Right or wrong?
Yeah.
Because, and not for nothing, when a trend starts, am I supposed to say, no, I'm not doing that?
Yeah.
Am I going to stop myself from booking a wedding and not doing something because somebody else did it? No. We should be inspired by each other. You know what I mean? There's enough business for everybody in this world. There's no reason for any of that.
Okay. All right. Want to wrap up here with a closure. Rima, how can we find you and the lovely Jose? Where's your tags? Where can we find you?
Like on Instagram?
Yes. How can we find you in general, business-wise?
I don't know.
What's your location, phone number, all that stuff, your
God.
tags?
So like a business card? Okay, so we're located at 500 Main Street in Little Falls, right by Willowbrook Mall. You can give us the Instagrams. Okay. All right, our Instagram is Premier Events by Rima.
And you can always call us at 201-981-0982.
And check out our website. We just redid it.
Excellent, excellent. Do you have a TikTok?
Yes, we do.
How's that going for you?
It's going. I need to focus on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
TikTok's like a whole new world.
I
feel like my mom on a
platforms.
phone.
There's so many.
I can't keep up.
It's too much going on.
It's like Pinterest. I have to set up an account. And then I got TikTok. And then Instagram. And then they got Facebook. I'm like...
That will probably be on our next podcast. We could talk about something like that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to wrap it up because we got an hour in. And I also got a few meetings lined up. But for the most part, you guys are amazing. Thank you. Behind the Keys with Jack.
We love you, Jack.
Thank you for having us, Jack.
Thank you. And keep my fingers crossed that you guys rocked. All right. We're done.
We love you, Jack. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Merry Christmas.
We're done, so?
Oh, you still on?
Was it recorded?
Yes.
He can edit that part.
No.
No?
I'm gonna leave it.
No, don't you dare leave that in there.
How do you think we did?
We're fired.
How does that fire people?